Warning, Paranoid Sisters podcast contains disturbing content, explicit language, and opinionated views. Listener discretion is advised.
This podcast talks about the victim's story and does not glorify any crimes. All right, welcome back, true crime fans, to another episode of the Paranoid Sisters podcast. I'm Sam, joined as always by my Paranoid sisters.
I'm Felicia.
And I'm Rachel.
So today we're going to deep dive into the disturbing case of Glen Galloway, a man whose obsession and violent tendencies shattered lives in Colorado Springs.
I just want to say that I know you guys are probably looking like, why is Felicia sitting on top of Sam? Well, it's because my computer died, and we needed to get these out. So I know my tits are sitting on our shoulders, but it's fine. We're good. We're here. But like you said before, that this case is in Colorado Springs, and this is very, 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 very close to home. I don't know if you guys know this, but we are in Colorado Springs. Can we get a round of applause? Do you want to tell a little bit about Colorado Springs, what it all can offer? Sam?
Sure.
Rachel, hold on. Rachel, you've never been to Colorado at all?
I've been to Denver several times. A good friend of mine lives in Denver, so I visit her. I'm out there. Well, I haven't been since the pandemic, but I was out there like once or twice a year.
Well, next time you come out, you should wander on down to good old Colorado Springs, the home of the Garden of the Gods, Olympic City, USA, if you didn't know that. Pikes Peak.
In the last few episodes, we said that we weren't too far from Canyon City, which there's a lot of criminals. Clearly, there's criminals in Colorado Springs. Supermax prison. But I mean, I think I would say Colorado Springs is. I lived in Denver, and just moving back to Colorado Springs, it's very like homey. Everyone's very nice. Everyone wants to have a chat. You're like, do I know this person because they want to talk to me? Maybe I'm just the person they want to vent to. That's fine. But we're very hometown, even though it's still getting bigger. We love our people.
Is it lower elevation than like Denver is? Because Denver, every time I go, it takes me like a couple of days to adjust. I get like a little bit of altitude sickness for, I don't know, the first 48 hours or so.
Yeah, it's higher. I think it's like 1,000 feet higher, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Denver is like 5,000 something, and I think we're 62. Yeah, 52.8, and we're 63.85 or something like that.
Wow.
I should know that. I feel ashamed of myself right now.
Someone's probably like, no, she's lying. It's only like 6,082, but it's fine. But we'll get there. We'll know our stats eventually. Okay, so Sam, do you want to take us in?
This story has everything: stalking, terror, and murder. It's one of those cases that remind you how fragile safety can be. We've done our homework, so buckle up for a story that's as tragic as it is terrifying. And when I say we've done our homework, Rachel has done the homework.
I did it.
Thank you, Rachel. So let's start with the man at the center of the story, Glen Galloway. Born and raised in Ohio, Glen grew up with his two sisters under the care of a single mother after their father abandoned them. After high school, Glen enlisted into the Army. We definitely have an Army base or two here.
It's actually across the highway from us.
Where he served as a sergeant scout and a helicopter mechanic. He was stationed in Hawaii and later at Fort Carson in Colorado Springs. After his service, he was honorably discharged, a decorated veteran by all accounts. Good for him. But, of course, things took a dark turn when he moved to Colorado Springs and started dating Janice Name in 2012. They met at work, and what seemed like a normal relationship quickly spiraled into something far more sinister. After 2 years in 2014, Janice ended the relationship, but this was only the beginning of her nightmare.
Following the breakup, Glen's behavior became erratic and increasingly threatening. Janice filed for a restraining order after Glen broke into her home. Surveillance footage caught him stealing her washer, dryer, refrigerator, and even more bizarre items like her TV remote and some of her undergarments, which is just so weird. He also left her faucets running and took all her food out of the fridge and left it outside to rot one time. These are all signs of his growing obsession and his desire to torment her. Janice was so frightened that she temporarily moved in with some family members. During this time, Glen was suspected of damaging their homes and vehicles. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about control and terror. Then, in October 2015, Glen was convicted of stalking, trespassing, theft, criminal mischief, and violating the restraining order that Janice had against him. For these crimes, he was fitted with an ankle monitor while he was awaiting sentencing. But just one day before his sentencing and 5 months before the murders, he cut off his ankle monitor and went on the run. At that point, Glen Galloway became a fugitive.
How does a man steal a whole refrigerator? Did he do this by
But
himself?
why are
Like,
you doing that? Like,
yeah, the
it's just
why,
so
but the how.
on a dolly.
I mean, I've been looking for my daughter's remote for the last, I don't know, 2 months. So maybe Glen Galloway got a
Stole
hold
it.
of it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just but it's like the weird things, like why the faucets? He's like, oh wait,
Yeah,
by the way, let me turn on the faucets real quick. What?
but what is that? Does she have to pay
Why?
for her water bill? Is that why he did that? To like run up her. Do you guys pay for your water there, or is it like included in the
Yes.
cost of? Oh, you do pay for
No,
water?
we pay for water
Oh,
separate.
okay, okay. Well, maybe he wanted to run up her. I don't know, or flood her house. I don't know. It's so strange.
Very bizarre. It's very bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Despite all these red flags, the real horror was still to come. On May 29th, 2016, Glenn shot and killed his friend, Marcus Anderson, who was homeless at the time. So that escalated quickly, right? From stealing refrigerators and leaving food to rot to actually killing somebody. Surveillance footage shows them entering a storage unit together, but only Glenn leaving. Marcus was later found shot to death inside. It's suspected that Glenn killed him to silence him or steal his truck, which he then used to go to Janice's house without being recognized. That seems like a far stretch. Like to kill someone, steal their car, just to go to this woman's house unsuspected.
But that and it's his friend. Like it's not like it's her friend. This is like an associate of his. It sounds like he was getting like really paranoid or something.
It's just escalating, right? Like even for the fact, like, how does this guy even have to hold down a job with just? I feel like all his energy is going into this to
Yeah.
terrorize this woman.
Do we know what he was honorably discharged for? Maybe it was, did he go to war at all? Did he have PTSD? Did he have anything like that? Did we happen to know any of
No,
those
I
things?
couldn't. I looked. I tried to figure out what it was for. But a lot of times military records are sealed, so you're not able. I couldn't find anything about why he was discharged. There's a lot of articles that talk about him being honorably discharged, but nothing. But I don't know. He was a helicopter mechanic. Like that's what his job was in the military. So I would guess that he wasn't in direct combat. Like I mean, if he was deployed, he would be like in a warehouse somewhere when they bring in their helicopters to like fix that kind of, you know what I mean? He wouldn't have been like on the front lines. Not that
Well,
you still couldn't have PTSD from being in a war zone, but it would be different.
Yeah. I mean, we can only assume, right, with this just craziness and the escalation of just his obsession to torment this woman. Like, I can only imagine working with this guy. Like, we've all worked with a pain in the ass coworker in the past at some point, and this guy just he's hitting a home run on the crazy side.
Yeah, I work with one next to me right now.
Can you imagine having to deal with her on a daily basis? The following day, on May 30th, 2016, at around 5 a.m., Glenn broke into Janice's home by smashing through a sliding glass door with a hammer. Do you know how loud that would be, though? That would be so loud. He left the hammer in a dog food bowl nearby, a chilling detail that paints a picture of just how methodical he was. Inside, he kicked down Janice's bedroom door and shot her twice in the head as she lay in bed. Janice's sister discovered her body after she failed to respond to messages. The scene was horrific. The broken glass door, the bloody paw prints from Janice's dogs who had walked through the blood in the bedroom. Janice had done everything she could to protect herself. Her house was like Fort Knox, with a home security system, 6 surveillance cameras, and even loaded weapons in her bedroom. But none of it was enough to stop Glen.
So she just knew he was coming, pretty much, or something was coming. On May 31st, so the next day, Glen turned himself in, along with the weapon he used in both murders. What followed was a trial that could only be described as chaotic. Prosecutors sought the death penalty, but Glen's defense argued that he killed Marcus in self-defense after Marcus allegedly threatened him with his own gun. They claimed this triggered a mental breakdown, leading to Janice's murder in a state of emotional despair. Glen's behavior in court was erratic and defiant. He refused to wear a suit, opting instead for his orange jumpsuit. He wouldn't stand for the jury, openly defying the judge. At one point, he even threw a laptop across the courtroom and was temporarily removed from his own trial. When he returned, he sarcastically asked, "No one's going to talk to me now or what?" His defense team claimed that Janice's breakup and accusations led him to a downward spiral, causing him to lose control. But testimony from others painting a conflicting picture. Glen's 20-year-old son testified that his father taught me how to be a good person. His ex-wife and 2 former girlfriends claimed that he was never abusive or threatening, and they remained on good terms post-relationship.
I wonder, like, what happened if there was, like, he had, like, some kind of breakdown. Because if he had exes that previously things ended well and he was still on good terms with all these people and, like, he was co-parenting his kids with his ex-wife and all of this, like, why this girl? Why did he just, like, snap?
Show how like fragile the mental state can be, right? Like how
Yeah.
one thing can trigger somebody, which is kind of scary too in the same sense, and be like, okay, so he had all these great relationships with people, like you said, and then this one relationship, there must have been something about this relationship in his mind that just tripped him up, and he just became obsessive about this woman. And
Yeah.
the fact that we talked about her house being like Fort Knox, to be like, she had loaded weapons, she had all these things, which is, to me, is even more scary. Like she had dogs. I mean, everything they tell you to do, right?
Yeah.
Surveillance cameras, dogs, X, Y, and Z. And she's still, that to me is just horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. I also wonder, you made the comment before about how loud it must have been breaking glass with a hammer, like the sliding doors in the back. And she had a loaded handgun in her nightstand. Like, I wonder if she was like a super deep sleeper or her house was gigantic or something. Like, I wonder how, like, if that happened to me, I feel like that would wake me up,
I would also assume that the dogs would be barking even before he even
or
got to
that.
the glass. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
usually dogs
Yeah. When
are
he's
very
outside.
rare. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you have guard dogs. Like, isn't that the whole purpose?
Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless she was like, and I was also thinking, because like sometimes I have a hard time sleeping, and sometimes I help like take medication to help me sleep. So
Yeah,
she, you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like, so there's so many things that we just don't know, but yeah, still scary, right? All of it.
On the other hand, several people testified that Glenn was hot-headed at work. 2 other people claim that he boasted about killing someone during his military service, and even a drug dealer who had wronged one of his family members. Despite these conflicting testimonies, the jury ultimately found Glen Galloway guilty. Glenn was sentenced to life without parole plus 171.5 years. For first-degree murder for Janice and second-degree murder for Marcus. The death penalty was on the table, making him the second person in El Paso County in the last decade to face the death penalty. This case also led to, I don't know.
Who was the first person? We need to find that out.
We should do a story on that. This case also led to a significant change in Colorado law. In 2017, the No Bail for Stalking and Domestic Violence Offenders Act House Bill 1150, for anybody who's curious, was passed. This law ensures that anyone convicted of felony stalking or who is a habitual domestic violence offender is automatically ineligible for bail before sentencing, a direct result of the horrors inflicted by Glen Galloway. Good. At least they did that.
Good. I mean, it's not good that, he was the one who had to kill someone for that to happen.
Yeah.
Glen Galloway's story is a chilling reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control. It's a story of obsession, violence, and the lengths someone will go when their world falls apart.
It's also a testament to the strength and bravery of those like Janice Name, who did everything she could to protect herself in the face of unimaginable fear.
And it's once again, it's sad because she's done everything she possibly can. Dog security systems, guns, restraining order, everything you could possibly think of, and it still didn't protect her.
Also, this story is common. Working in criminal law for years, like, I cannot tell you the number of cases I have seen, not always that go as far as murder, but like the ex getting attacked or breaking into the ex's home. Like, this is a common thing. It happens way too frequently. And a lot of times nothing's done about it. Like a restraining order, it's a piece of paper that says you're not allowed to go there. It's not like, I mean, anybody can not
any force
do that.
Stopping them.
Yeah, like I don't know. And I feel like if you've already crossed the line into stalking and breaking and entering into their house, do you really care about a restraining order anyway? Like, you're like, oh no, I'm gonna be in trouble for this, so let me not do this.
I'm sure it's probably stopped a few, but I mean, if your goal or your end goal is something else, then you're like, fuck that, I don't care at this point. I'm gonna go all in.
I also wonder how he got his ankle monitor off. Those things, I don't know if you've ever seen one. He must have used like a chainsaw or something. I have no idea how he was able to do this. It's like made of steel, and they're like, honestly, I've heard like very, very few cases of people getting them off themselves.
Hey, I just saw a TikTok recently
about how to do that.
Ankle monitor.
Really?
Yes, he got shocked and everything, but it was off. I was like, we're just all watching this with a billion likes and follow. Then I'm like, what is happening?
Okay. Wow.
So,
okay. Yes, you can find everything on TikTok these days, huh?
I mean, they even, I think, was it the Kia Boys or something like that? Was that their name? Mm-hmm. They would literally show you how to break into Kias. And
really?
Like, it was on TikTok. Yes. They're just doing crime.
I don't have TikTok. I'm not like super big into, I like Instagram, but I'm not really big on social media.
To get on TikTok so that way you can know how to do crimes. No one's telling you to do that at all, Rachel. It's fine. You're good.
How is that even allowed to be on there? Like, they don't censor anything on TikTok? There's no.
There is, but I mean,
it's already posted.
Yeah, somebody's probably.
Yeah, I guess people have already seen it.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us today on the Paranoid Sisters podcast. If you found this story as haunting as we did, please subscribe and leave us a review.
And remember, the world is full of mysteries. Stay curious, stay safe, keep questioning everything, and most importantly,
what the fuck is wrong with people?
There's a delay, people, so sorry. But seriously.
Seriously.